Not too long ago, the news media would say things like Elon Musk and Tesla are on fire, and they were acknowledging the brand's success. Now, if they say Tesla is on fire, they are reporting the outrage that is sweeping North America. And now Canada is lighting a fire under Musk Car Company with a damning allegation that is worthy of investigation, and I have the trending story for you next. Let's begin with a recap of the continued protests against Musk and by extension the Tesla car company. I've compiled two clips that show two very different points of view. First up, TMZ covers the destructive outrage, and then Chris Matthews of MSNBC covers it through the lens of peaceful activism and resistance.
Hot times these days if you are a Tesla owner.
Perilous times.
Really, because the Tesla protests across the country are...
And vandalism.
Yeah, I mean, there are...
Well, there you go.
There are peaceful protests, and then there are these things happening because people are so upset about Elon Musk and his Doge mission.
There's something really remarkable happening right now. I'm not sure people have really quite gotten their arms around this. We are seeing this organic bottom-up movement against Musk's signature company, Tesla. Some activists just put up a website with a simple message, right? Sell your Teslas, dump your stock. And then an entire Tesla takedown movement has sprung up in response. And they've got a map where all the protests are planned all across the country. It's been happening for about a month. This weekend alone, there are more than 100 protests planned at dealerships, Tesla dealerships across the country, from Brooklyn to Toledo, Dallas to Grand Rapids, Raleigh, dozens more. There are even, as you might see there, a handful planned in Canada and the UK. And I'm going to tell you something. I wager next weekend there will be even more, and the weekend after that more. Because this is growing every single day. And it's not Democratic leadership in Congress organizing the protests. It's just everyday folks who are fed up and want to make their voices heard. And it's having an insanely outsized effect. I mean, Tesla's sales are just cratering. The stock price has seen all of its post-election gains vanish. Musk's personal wealth has declined by more than $125 billion since the beginning of the year. That's because of this. By all accounts, this is not being funded by some big funder. It's a grassroots movement. Some people are organizing. They're putting up a website. And at any rate, it doesn't seem like those scare tactics are working. I would hazard they only make people want to protest more. Today, hundreds of veterans and their family members and loved ones rallied near Capitol Hill in protest of Musk's cuts to the federal government, many of which target veterans who worked at the government and have been fired or are serviced by the government directly. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's taken a little while for people to sort of understand what they're seeing, because it's shocking and it's surreal, but it's just the beginning.
I completely agree that we are at the beginning of a resistance movement, but I hope it takes a different form, and I'll share more about that in my wrap-up. But for now, let's dive into the story of the day, a shocking Tesla scandal that is under investigation in Canada, as shared in this report by Crystal Ball of Breaking Points.
Now, amidst all this turmoil, there is a brewing possible scandal that has so far gotten little attention, but it could become a little more significant. Could also be a potential indicator of just how desperate the floundering company has become as pressures from a toxic leader, a stale product line, and increased competition mount. Tesla is now being investigated for possible government fraud. Not of our government, but of Canada. An irony, to say the least, at a moment when Elon is posturing like the ultimate warrior against government waste, fraud, and abuse. Lest you think this is some sort of politically motivated witch hunt because of Elon's position in an administration currently waging economic war on Canada, take a listen to the facts from this local Canadian news report.
A suspicious spike in Tesla sales has experts in the industry scratching their heads. It started with a deadline in January for Ottawa's rebate program on electric vehicles that allegedly prompted a mad rush to buy EVs. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has been crunching the numbers. And Adrian, do they add up?
Sandy, a spike in purchases was to be expected, though the reported sale of 8,600 Teslas equaling $43 million in rebates at 4 Canadian Tesla locations has sparked plenty of questions. In the west end of Toronto, this one Tesla location alone reported selling more than 1,200 vehicles on January 11th, totaling more than $4 million in rebates. So we paid them a visit to try and get some clarity on the staggering number of sales.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. My name's Adrian Gobriel. I'm a journalist with CTV News.
Okay.
There was a large increase in the number of sales processed through the EV rebate program. Just trying to get an understanding of perhaps what maybe some of the reasons were behind that. Did that take place, or is that a backlog of paperwork going through? You can't share any comments? Is there any manager you think that might be able to?
I am the manager.
Our multiple emails to Tesla's headquarters have been met with silence.
It defies logic that these corporate stores of Tesla and Tesla shareholders and Elon Musk would be able to sell 8,600 vehicles in a single weekend. There's something highly unusual about this.
So to recap, Canada has been running an EV rebate program, which has been quite popular and quite successful. The way the program works is that when a customer purchases an EV, the cost of the rebate is originally fronted by the dealership. Then the dealer receives reimbursement from the government. Now, in early January, the government announced the fund was running low on money and might be suspended sometime in the next few weeks. And that is when 4 Tesla dealerships pulled off the biggest miracle since fish and loaves, somehow selling 8,600 cars in just 3 days. One dealership claims to have sold 4,000 Teslas over this period. Now, that is quite a jump from the few dozen or so cars that they had previously been moving per day. I really got to see those morning sales meetings, I guess. I mean, are they hypnotizing the customers? Are they handing out tariff exemptions? Did they switch the complimentary coffee for pre-workout and crack? According to Car Scoops and basic math, this level of sales would have required each of these 4 Tesla stores to sell 30 cars per hour, 24 hours per day, for 3 straight days. Now, if you scale the time back to the actual hours when the dealerships were even open, you would have more than 1 car sold every minute at each of these dealers across that 3-day period. Insane. Now, as one government official told the Toronto Star, quote, Tesla did not sell those cars that weekend. Now, Tesla went on to claim $43 million in rebates, sucking up about half the remaining balance in the rebate fund, leaving other EV dealers holding the bag after they sold vehicles with the rebate priced in, expecting to get a refund from the government.
When it rains, it pours, and it is pouring hard on Tesla right now, and we will continue to follow that investigation. As for the resistance against Musk being hyper-focused on Tesla, I really want to get your feedback on that. What do you think of the protest against dealers of the cars, the destruction of the cars, and the aggressive actions of intimidation against drivers that are being reported? Do you think this kind of protest is on target or misdirected? To that point, I want to share more from TMZ because they have an owner's perspective. But first, I have one more question for you. If not Tesla, is there another form of protest against Trump and Musk that we can all get behind? Something that would put a dent in their attack on our democracy? I'm Dan. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to your comments.
You know, people really need to understand that, first off, Tesla owners, they are big enthusiasts of technology, sustainability, and their purchase decision isn't necessarily a reflection on how they may agree with all this stuff today. And people have purchased this 2-3 years. And I think even the senator you showed, his actually is really, I think it's like a 2015, 2014 model. So he bought that a long time ago, where now the Model Y is the best-selling car in the world.
Right, but it's now a statement, for better or worse. We're out of time, but real quickly, you interact with thousands and thousands of Tesla owners. Are some of them talking about, I love the car, but I got to get rid of it because it's too incendiary?
Yeah, I think you're seeing it a little bit, but overall, the community is actually coming together and even stronger. We're going to be doing donut drop-offs to a lot of the various locations in the Bay Area because, again, you know, the Tesla employees are not Elon Musk. And so they're hardworking Americans trying to put food on their table. And so they being attacked is never okay. Violence is never okay. Peacefully protest, but don't attack people.